Welcome everyone. Today's talk is about creative habits. Creative habits to help you stay productive and kind to your mental health. So this is a bit wordy, but I think, as we go along, we will realize how really productivity, in my opinion, is directly correlated to mental health. So, just changing the screen. There we go. So today's agenda, we're basically I'm just going to talk a little bit about myself, introduce my brand that I founded called Lyflyn Designs, talk about the tips and habits. And if you stay till the very end, there's actually a gift from Lyflyn Designs and myself to you. So I really hope you stay till the end. So about myself, I don't like to introduce myself usually by my achievements. I like to introduce myself by how I feel, who I am, what I'm going through. And personally, I'm a curious, spiritual, multifaceted creative, and I'm also a self-healer. So I'm just navigating through life, trying to be creative, trying to pick up different skills. And I'm quite spiritual. I know, in terms of understanding what the universe has to give us, what God has to give us. So that's basically who I am as a person. And also, I'm a dog mom. I'm a new dog mom, and I love my dog so much, and he makes me happy. So that's something that I wanted to share. But going to the professional side, I'm an architecture and product designer, as well as a wellpreneur, hence the Lyflyn Designs brand. I graduated with a Bachelor of Architectural Studies. When? I actually don't remember when I graduated. It was a while ago. But I graduated with a Medal of Honor. I also have a certificate in sales and marketing. And I graduated in 2018 with a Master of Architecture. And actually, I was awarded the Queensland Institute of Architects medallion, which is basically the highest award that shows that you were the highest performer in your state. Queensland is in Australia, just for the people who don't know where that is. So I'm also a founder and creative director of Lyflyn Designs, and I'll talk about Lyflyn in a bit. And I'm also the founder of Side Hustle Small Business, which is a little community of where I share tips and experiences of business, of my journey and business so far. So that's really usually on my YouTube channel, but also there's an Instagram page for that. And yeah, so this is just, feel free to screenshot this. If you're looking for me and are interested in learning more, you can find my architecture portfolio, etc., on my website, YouTube, Sarah Kukie. Everything is Sarah Kukie. I tried to make it so easy so that, you don't have to worry about the ones and twos and everything. So in case you're looking for me, you can find me on these various platforms. And then Lyflyn Designs. So I founded Lyflyn Designs in 2019. Really, the story of Lyflyn Designs started in 2016. I was going through a tough time. This was when I was about to embark on my master's degree. And actually, I had started my master's degree. Outside my master's degree, I was working a full-time job. And, I had to also work another job in order to kind of be able to live, because I don't know how many people hear about Australia, but the cost of living is quite high. So yes, I had help from my parents, but I also needed quite a bit of help and, just surviving. So I needed both jobs. I needed to finish my master's, and I'm grateful to God I was able to. For the master's, I didn't have to pay a single penny because I got 100% scholarship. But still, I had to live, I had to survive, I had to eat, all the things. And all these things started to form up. I was super stressed all the time. And this for me was the beginning of understanding this idea around mental health and anxiety and all of that. So what that led to was me having several panic attacks and not having a clue what they were. And until I went the doctor. I was like, I think I'm having a heart attack, blah, blah, blah. And they were like, no, I think, try to adopt these habits, etc. And for me, the habit that I adopted was creating, and creating helped me through a lot. Every time I made something, every time I created something, that became, essentially my lifeline, hence the name of the business, Lyflyn. So, trying to stylize it from the word lifeline, which is usually, related to health purposes, I tried to kind of go a different route, hence the LYFLYN. But basically it was my lifeline, and I decided, hey, I'm creating all these things, why not share them with the world? So, the idea started to simmer from 2016, and then in July 2019, I decided to register the business and go ahead and put all the products that I designed out there. So Lyflyn is a design and wellness brand and community based here in Kampala, Uganda. We design planners, journals, homeware, so much more. I'm actually going to go onto that in the next slide. But basically our goal is to encourage individuality and self-care through the various self-help tools that we design. And they're there to sort of put an importance on mental health and how planning and organizing in your daily life can help you prosper. So, so what do we design and make? Like I said, planners, journals, notebooks, greeting cards. We have different kinds of affirmation decks and journaling prompts. We also do homeware, accessories, and this is how it actually started with the earrings. That's what I used to create during those times. So that's basically some of the products that we design and make, and you can find everything on our website, which is lyflyndesigns.com. So just moving forward, I guess basically as a business, ever since we launched, it's been like pretty amazing, and I can honestly say and attribute that our success has been due to reviews from customers, due to referrals, due to return customers. To share. So like I said, when I'm talking on Side Hustle Small Business, I tell people understanding the market is important, but it's your devotion to letting people know about how you're going to make a difference in their lives that they will actually stay, and how you will win them over. Now, onto the reason why we are here. I'm going to dive into the various creative productivity habits that are kind to your mental health. And basically, chat. I don't know if you're Q&A box, but if not, just drop them in the chat. I'm more than happy to answer them at the end. But when it comes to productivity, I think the corporate world has basically made it seem as though productivity is the enemy of mental health. And to this, I say no. In my opinion, there is no way you can be as productive as you could be if your mental health is suffering, because it requires brain power a lot of the time in order to be productive. So that's why I said in the beginning that we're going to see that these two are very correlated. So tip number 1 is rid your life of clutter. Now, what is this? Look around you, even where you are right now. Are you in a space that is decluttered? Are you able to find something that you need immediately? Basically, when your environment is cluttered, it becomes difficult to focus, right? So create the habit of giving everything a home. If you're working on a little project, if you're doing something, you get all that you need, but as soon as that's finished, put everything away. But another good tip is, at the end of the day, make sure that everything goes back to its home, whether it's a shelf, whether it's a basket. Even if you have kids, it's a good idea to even teach the kids while they're young to be able to put away their toys and put away what needs to go away, because that way, when you do come back the next day, one, you know where everything is, right? So you're not spending time looking for something that you can't find. And time is of the essence. Productivity has a lot to do with you having the time. And so many people find it difficult to find some things because they just don't know where it is, and it's all a cluttered mess. So this is the first step. Rid your life of clutter. Always find a way of putting things away. If you have too much, donate it, sell it, recycle it, give it away. But sort your life out, because that will help you focus, that will help you calm down, and that's basically a positive for both your mental health and productivity. The second tip is move your body, and preferably outside. So I especially used to shout this on the Lyflyn Designs social media platforms during the 42 days. Please, go outside. If you don't have a compound, go to the road and just walk 10 minutes, 15 minutes. That really helps a lot, because you get your oxygen moving in a different way, but also it boosts your creativity and your energy. After you sit back down, you're calmer, because your body has moved, so it's ready to rest, right? So you're calmer, and scientifically, it's actually been proven to boost your immune system, lower blood pressure, increase patience, and decrease anxiety. So move your body often, and preferably outside where you can get some fresh air. So the next thing is related still to moving your body. Exercise, dance, stretch. Some people are not into exercise. However, another form of exercise is dancing. Put on your favorite playlist, and whether you're dancing in front of the mirror, the point is for these things to be fun and creative, and you're kind of showing yourself love. But also at the same time, you're getting a bit fit. So try and fit some form of dancing, exercise into your routine every day. But also the beauty of exercise and walking actually is that it's been proven that even a 10-minute jog will boost your serotonin levels. And basically serotonin is related to your happiness hormone. So therefore you will have more energy and your mood will improve. So exercise is good for you. Find something that's fun. If you can get your friends, your neighbors to join you, then do that, because there's nothing better than an accountability partner. Or you can go to a gym. I don't know if it's very stiff right now during the pandemic, but if a gym where at a certain time there's only a handful of people, then you're free to do that. And then stretch. I cannot express how important stretching is, because I know not very many people do it, but most people tend to suffer from, let's say, tension headaches or muscle aches without understanding why that is. And it's usually related to not stretching. So you wake up, let's say, and you just sit on any form of stretching. Try to stretch your body, because that improves the blood flow throughout your body. And when the blood flow is good, your muscles tend to ache less. But also you're generally in a better mindset to then sit on your desk for longer periods of time and focus and, I guess, be productive. Yeah. And then the next point is compartmentalizing and creating systems. So let's start with compartmentalizing. I don't mean this in the psychological sense of suppressing your thoughts or emotions. What I mean is breaking tasks up into smaller bits. If you have a big task, try to break it down into smaller bits and more manageable parts. So a lot of the time we're given a project. Of course, in order for you to achieve a project, there's so many moving parts of it. So try your best not to let that overwhelm consume you from the beginning. Instead, sit down and break it down into different tasks. And the beauty of this is you might find that there are things within that you can delegate. There are things within that are not very critical that you can then, in project management, you have a critical path, and then you have these other tasks that are not essentially there. So they can be moved around to whatever time, and find the things that are not, on that critical path, and try to fit them in when you have the time. So break things up, and it doesn't matter if it's, let's say you run a product-based business and you have 20 orders, and you have to, let's say the clothes, you have to, get people's sizes, get the material, See, all those are already things that you're breaking it up into. So try your best to break things up into smaller pieces. That way they're more manageable. And the next thing is creating systems. I cannot stress how important systems are. Systems in your life, systems in your business. I think for me, this is like the biggest brain, like the thing that blew my mind the biggest is how, when I started my business, I was able to figure out all the different software, all the different systems that I can use to make it run smoothly, right? I did not employ someone until I was a year and a bit into the business. And by that time, actually, I was still working a 9-to-5 at that time. But because I had really great systems in place, I was able to, people were able to get their products in time. People were able to, move along and get their things. And even me personally, in my personal life, I was able to move along smoothly. So find systems that work for you. And we're actually going to dive into a couple of these things that are more on a personal level. And, little things like, okay, when I wake up, is it that I check my emails first? Not recommended, but, if that's a thing that works for you, then go ahead and do that. And is it ways that you file your work? Is it ways, so that when it comes to filing, so that you're able to know, okay, on my computer, the folder that says XYZ is the one where I put all of this, and within XYZ, there's da-da-da-da. So things like that help you be productive, because you know where everything is, you know how something is going to go from A to Z, and you also are able to find things when you need them. So systems are so important. And yeah, what's another point? Another point is journaling. So obviously, because this could be like a bit of a bias because I own a brand that sells journals, but no, really, if I recommend, this is just something I recommend for everyone. A lot of the time, the truth is we have so much in our heads at any one point, way too much that we get stressed out, too much that we forget, which is actually really one of the main things we forget. And all you have to do is do this thing called a brain dump. What a brain dump is basically a way you can express and record your thoughts in an uncritical way. So get a notebook, get a journal, get a piece of paper and write down everything you're thinking. I love to do this exercise when, I feel a bit overwhelmed. I just write down everything that I'm thinking then, right? But because, usually it's a book or whatever, there's room for me to add more and more. I don't have to think about it too much. So you can journal in the sense that you're brain dumping and just dropping your thoughts there. Or you can journal in the sense that, okay, I actually am looking towards my emotional side and my mental health side. So that's journaling about how you feel and how you want to express yourself, things that didn't happen, things that happened, how you want to move forward. So these are really critical things. Journal, write lists, because some people prefer not to use pen and paper, and that's okay. Get on a laptop, get on a tablet, and still do this. It's a habit that I tell you will make you sleep so well at night, when knowing that you don't have as much on your brain. So I totally encourage that, knowing in terms of like productivity and also your mental health. Another one is obviously the one that is, sworn by, the Bill Gates of this world, and everyone else swears by this: wake up early, guys. Waking up early gives your chance of body to properly adjust before you start working. So this means that actually by the end of the day, you're tired a bit earlier, and therefore you sleep earlier, and then also your sleep is deeper, right? So wake up early, and you will find that you're able to actually do a lot. It's a lot quieter. For me, I don't wake up at 5, but I wake up at 5:40. That's my time. And my goodness, it's just the serenity of the time. The air is crisp in a different way, before the noise, before what. For me, it's like my time to just be, right? So wake up earlier. And also, to be fair, research has found that people who wake up earlier, like the Bill Gates and the top achievers, are more likely going to succeed in life, because you have that time. And now moving on to why you should wake up earlier, and this is the part that people find difficult, is I encourage you to wake up earlier so you can fulfill your morning routine. I encourage everyone to have a morning routine and a nighttime routine, because this helps you. When you get up, you have a reason why you're getting up, therefore you get up more quickly. As you can see there on the screen, there's a couple of morning routine ideas. A morning routine is also an example of a system. We talked about systems earlier. A morning routine is an example of a system that you can have in your life. It gives you a sense of accomplishment even before your day starts, your work day anyway. And also, it lets you start your day off well mentally. So simple things like, I'm going to talk about my morning routine. Usually I wake up, I pray, and then I draw a card from one of the Lyflyn affirmation decks. And then after that, usually I drink my water, get ready, go for a walk. It's usually a 30-minute to 1 hour walk. And then I come back, I walk my dog, while I put the kettle on. Then I have my tea, coffee for breakfast. Then I'm able to get in the shower. And this is all before 8:30, right? So you can imagine, like, you already feel accomplished before 9 a.m. So even now, by the time you sit on your desk, like we already talked about, the exercising, the walking, that all helps you, move your body and boost your serotonin levels. So by the time I sit on my desk, I am ready to chomp out work, to do everything that I need to do, because I already feel accomplished. I have that motivation. I have moved my body. I have done things that are mindful. And, so I totally encourage people to have a morning routine. And that's outside of wake up, check your email, go to work. That is not quite, that's not like a good routine for you to, to be kind to your mental health, basically. So I totally encourage you to create something that suits you. Everyone will have a different routine, but create something good for you. Create something that will make you wake up excited every day. And don't be afraid to change it around. That's another thing. It doesn't have to be this stagnant thing that this is exactly what I do every day in this order. No, because then you will likely not keep up with it. So try your best to do certain things. You can switch it up every day, but do something that atones to your mindfulness, your mental health, moving your body, and productivity every single day. Now, another thing that will help you stay productive and be kind to your mental health: plan your day, prioritize, and minimize distractions. Let's start with planning your day. So having a daily planner is something that will help you out. As you can see, this is, for example, an example of our Lyflyn daily planner. With planning your day, I usually recommend the best time to do it is the night before. So, and some people usually plan their whole week. So the best time to usually plan your whole week is basically on a Sunday. So as you plan your day, you're already going to see the things you need to do. Then you can start to prioritize. I know there's like a time management matrix. It has a name, like Eisenhower or someone, where it has basically, things that are important, not important, urgent, and not urgent. So as you plan, for example, your week, try to group these things. There are some things that are going to be important and urgent. Those are things you definitely need to do and to do fast. There's some things that are going to be urgent but not important. You can possibly delegate those things. There's some things that are important but not urgent. Those are things you can keep within your plan, but you can do at a later date, right? And then there's some things that are not important and not urgent. Those are things that just cross them out, basically. Those are their time wasters. So try to plan your week, your day, and try to figure out where the different tasks that you need to do lie within that. I mean, one of the things in the daily plan, as you can see here, is a to-don't list. And I think people ask me, what do you mean to-don't? But those are basically those things that are not urgent and not important. So by you seeing them even in your planner, when someone is trying to make it a priority, but it's not necessarily a priority to you, you're able to say, hey, I'm going to be able to deal with this tomorrow, next week, or next month. You already know, and you're not, because I think a lot of us find ourselves doing things that are not that important because they're easy to do, right? Because these not urgent, not important things tend to be the easiest ones to do. And you find you're like, at least I'm doing something, or, but do the things, focus on the top tasks, focus on the important things, and then you can take it from there. And then when it comes to minimizing distractions, oh my goodness, notifications. I don't know. I think notifications to me are one of the worst things that was created. I know they're helpful, when you need to remember things, but I think they're very distracting. So I encourage you to be in a place away from distractions. I know, this remote working tends to have us go to cafes. If you're not going to be distracted in a cafe by everyone walking in, good on you, work there. It can never be me. Because everyone will walk, I'm like, what's going on? Like, that's me. So I try my best to go somewhere where I know there's not going to be a lot of traffic and I'm not going to be distracted. But also, basically, what this minimized distractions is about is there's been studies that have shown that once you're in a zone, like you're in a focus zone and you snap out, it can take up to 25 minutes for you to get back in the zone. So usually, and I have an app on my phone called Focus Keeper, I tend to make sure that one, my notifications are off, whether it's my ringtone, whether it's my emails, etc., WhatsApp, all those things are off during a certain period. And I tend to work in 35-minute increments, rest for 5 minutes, work 35, rest for 5 minutes. Sometimes I go over, but there's an app called Focus Keeper that's really good at this. So it basically, allows you the 35 minutes. And then when your 5 minutes starts, it starts like doing a ticking sound or an ocean sound. You can set all these things up, but that shows me that, okay, now, in case I was thinking I'm going to receive an email, I can check that now, right? But you're able to work on one task for an elongated period of time, and you're likely going to achieve more during those periods, as opposed to, I'm working a little bit here, then I move here, then I check the email here, then the WhatsApp has come. Now the call, they're telling me that I need to do this. So try to minimize as many distractions as possible if you want to be productive, but also it helps you, stay focused. And with focus, your brain is not panicking. And that's something that's kind to your general health and mental health, I guess. The next tip is, like I said, you have to have a morning routine and a nighttime routine. Nighttime routine is definitely important. How you wind down is very important. So create something that calms you, relaxes you. Remember, if you've already woken up early, you're likely tired a little bit earlier, but then how do you really wind down? You don't want to go to bed with a gazillion thoughts, because you'll likely toss and turn, you'll have nightmares, etc. So create a nighttime routine that works well for you. And one of the tasks that I encourage in your nighttime routine is to have a daily review. So try to avoid late night emails or screen time basically past a certain point. Or the worst offender is watching Netflix or series up to God knows what time. I think that's the worst one. Avoid that. You can, the beauty of planning out your day and your time is, honestly, there have been days where I have a nice 1 hour chunk and I'm like, you know what? I have 1 hour because I've done all this. Now I can watch that episode of XYZ, right? Plan your day out so that you don't have to then be like, oh, my Netflix, I have to watch it before God, and then you end up watching episode 225, 3000, what? Like, avoid that. The blue light that comes from your screen is going to distract your sleep so much. So try to avoid that at all costs. But yeah, create a nighttime routine that's going to help you relax. So that's drinking a cup of, mint tea, trying to journal at the end of the day. And that's basically related to your daily review. I encourage you at the end of every day to do a review of your day. In a notebook, in a journal, as you can see here in the images, our daily planner has your win for the day. Our 3-in-1 planner has your week's win. Our journals have, a little summary area. But try to review your day, because you can see where your progress is, you can see what you haven't done, and you're able to prepare to do it the next day. So you don't wake up thinking, I don't know if anyone has ever done this. I used to a lot. You wake up with this, wait, I have like so much to do, like that energy of, as soon as you wake up, it's just problems. And it's because you do not know, where did I stop yesterday? What can I do? What can I push? But having a little review to see, okay, I was able to do this. I was able to, you're able to, one, encourage yourself if you have done well, or if you haven't, be like, hey, I wasn't able to do this, but I can fit it in on Thursday. I was able to do XYZ. So now I can take a break on this day, right? And that's maybe one thing I didn't mention when I was saying plan your day. Make sure you plan room for rest during your week, during your days, and you plan for self-care, you plan for nurturing yourself during these times. So yeah, make sure you have a nice and calming nighttime routine. Do those daily reviews, because they will help you stay mentally prepared for the next day. This is like a given. Show appreciation, practice gratitude. This is related to mindfulness. Gratitude basically creates a positive outlook on life. It's really easy. So one of the ways you can practice gratitude, you can have a gratitude journal. You can make your own. This is, for example, a layout that, I just did in a grid notebook up here, but also practice gratitude and show appreciation in a way that when someone does something nice for you, you say thank you. You say, hey, I appreciate you helping me out here. Because, I don't know why we're now living in a world where unkindness is a thing and it's acceptable. No, don't be that person who's not kind. If a waiter comes, yes, maybe they've spilled your water. Think about them as a human being. They could be having the worst day of their lives. Try to be understanding, say, hey, it's okay. Avoid these things of like shouting at people and just being unkind generally. So show gratitude, show appreciation, because it puts you in a positive light. You tend to have a positive outlook on life. The people around you are grateful for you because you're kind, you're more positive, you're likely going to attract people who are also that way. So your circles tend to move around this idea of practicing gratitude and showing appreciation. I tell people, be grateful until everyone who's ungrateful in your life leaves. Like, be that grateful, so that you're so annoying that people who are likely that, and negative people in your life will leave, right? Be that grateful, so that at the end of the day, the people in your circle, the people around you, are people who are willing to embrace that, because then the conversations will change. You'll likely be kinder, and you'll also just, generally have a positive outlook on life. And this helps you stay good, like in terms of your physical health, your mental health, but also it allows you to get rid of the negativity, because a lot of what slows us down and enables us not to be as productive is all these constant criticisms, etc. So gratitude. All right. So moving on from that, learn to say no and learn how to let things go. So this idea of saying no, or even saying yes, to be fair, surrounds it's about you basically having boundaries in your life. So putting boundaries in your life can be really freeing. As you can see there in the slides, there's a whole bunch of different boundaries that are important. There are material, emotional, time or energy, mental, physical. With material, it's surrounding your possessions. So let's say your car, your dress. You don't like, hey, no, I can't have you wearing my dress. I can't have you taking my car. Emotional, surround, the topics that people are putting out there. Maybe it's something you're not comfortable talking about yet. It's about expressing how you feel. Like, hey, I'm not comfortable talking about this, but maybe next time. About your time. This for me is the biggest one, because I tend to be quite early and I tend to, plan my day out so well. And then you get to a meeting and someone at the time of the meeting, let's say meeting starts at 10, they're calling you at 10:01, like, oh my goodness, I'm half an hour away. That's my biggest pet peeve, like my biggest pet peeve. So I always let people know, like, at least a couple of minutes before, like, hey, I'm already here. Please let me know if you're going to be here. If you're not, I would appreciate you letting me know ahead of time, so that I'm able to plan the rest of my day out accordingly. And so when it comes to physical things, it's things like, people who touch you inappropriately, or if you're not a hugger, then tell people, look, I'm not a hugger. It's just that simple. So don't try to hug me. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just telling you that this is my boundary. Don't hug me. And then when it comes to mental, it's about your beliefs and values. For example, let's talk about this idea of Christianity, and some people are believers, some are not. And if you are or you're not, it's up to you to express this. Like, look, I'm not comfortable talking about this because, I might disagree with your views and I'm not ready to debate. decide here. So feel free to set those boundaries in life. Say no to, to things that are basically not going to help you thrive, or things that are going to waste your time. So saying no is just like, I got so good at saying no that the yeses became more meaningful, because I only say yes to things that I know for sure are going to help me thrive, are going to help the community in the way that, I think is right, rather than just saying yes to everything is not good. Just say yes to the important things and the challenging things. I'm not saying don't say yes at all, just say yes to what's important. And then letting things go. So now that your boundaries are in place, let the little things go. Because letting things go really basically enables you prevent misery by letting little things go. Because you have to, I guess, in the way that, think about things like complaining. I think so many people are just like willing to complain about everything, but right before you complain, think about what you're about to complain about, right? It's easier said than done, to be fair, because I personally found myself complaining about some really petty things. But, just think about it. Like, think before you speak, I think is the best way to put it. And complain in your head before you complain out loud, just to make sure that it's something that's really worth getting into. And then, like I was talking about the waiter incident before, look at the picture. So look at the bigger picture, because you might be over focusing on the person has spilled water or something, but maybe they tripped over something, right? And in the same way that we tend to just look at the tiny details of things because a certain thing has happened to us, but it's so easy to misinterpret situations. So look at the bigger picture before you hold on to a thing and get miserable about it. And then choose compassion. So choose compassion and focus on someone's human sense. They've made a mistake, right? It could be a coworker, it could be your family friend. Like, that feeling, it's so easy to be annoyed, but then choose compassion, choose going back to the gratitude thing, choose to be kind, choose to be like grateful, like, hey, they've spilled water on me, but at least it wasn't boiling hot water. It's little things like that, where just let go of the little things, let go of things that are going to make you miserable, walk through them, express yourself by maybe saying, hey, if they did it intentionally, hey, you spilled water on me, but please don't do that again. Like, I'm not happy with that. Once again, going back to your boundaries and saying no to things. But also, sorry, before we move on, saying no to things helps you, have a minimal, not minimal, but like, say yes to only the things that are important. Therefore, you have a lot more time to focus solely on those important things, creating like a high productivity, like ratio in your life. Another important thing that I encourage is visualize. Visualize. This will help you stay motivated. It will still help you stay excited for life. If you visualize your future, your goals, one of the things I encourage is a vision board at the beginning of the year, and to be fair, what your beginning of the year can be today, right? You can go do that vision board starting now. You don't have to wait for January 1st. So start, that's another thing I say, like, start today. So do a vision board. What it helps you basically recognize, one, these are the resources I need in order to achieve this. Things that are visual, things that you can see, things that you've written out, things that you've cut out. It helps you figure out the resources you need to achieve something that you want. It helps you want to wake up and achieve that goal, to get that thing. It helps you stay organized. So knowing and having an idea of like where you're going to go just brings that inner motivation. and helps you push forward. And you wake up some days, it's not all easy breezy, but having that overarching idea of what you want to achieve, how you want to impact your community, etc., helps you move past those small things, those small hurdles, and keep going, keep pushing. So, even if you have the bumps, at the end of the day, there is this big idea, and you wake up knowing that, okay, I have a purpose. My purpose that I've set for myself for this year is to achieve XYZ. It's to help XYZ. So despite that yesterday I was robbed of 20 million or something, let me not get down on myself. Let me see how I can change that narrative and move forward and still get back on the trajectory to achieve what I have to achieve. So one of the best ways to do this is to visualize, understand where you're going with your future, and it will help you wake up every day with a purpose. And then practice mindfulness, and especially breath work. So mindfulness is basically like how can I say, like a mental state achieved by focusing on your awareness, right? And in like the moments that you're in. So for example, right now, I'm sitting on a desk. I'm wearing socks. Usually I'm barefoot. I'm sitting on a desk and my feet are on the ground. And it's understanding that in this moment, this is where I am. This is what my body is doing. I am looking at a camera. I am talking. I'm aware of this, right? And in that moment, in case anything comes up, I'm like, no, this is where I am. So my mindfulness can be appropriated in very many different things. It can be through meditations, through breathing, through grounding yourself. Like, for example, walking barefoot. You can practice awareness through activities that you enjoy, like, let's say, planting, cooking, looking at the clouds. Some people are going on a hike, things like that, or whatever you call relaxing. So practice mindfulness because it helps you basically increase your ability to regulate emotions, decrease stress, anxiety, and depression. So when you're mindful at every step of your life, you're able to regulate your emotions. And that's something that's so important for your mental health. It's understanding that this is where I am. I can stay grounded. I can just breathe through it. I can just, forgive. I can be grateful. Little things like that. So try to always practice mindfulness and being aware, and I've worked in the corporate world where sometimes you find yourself just like, you're almost like on a chopping block, like assignment after assignment. Like by the end of the day, you go to bed, but like you can't even recall how your entire day went necessarily, because it was just like you weren't really there. Your body was likely there, of course it was, and you were able to get out all this work, but you were not really there. Right? So try to practice mindfulness in that, like with everything that you engage with, you're there, you're actually present. This is like really important. And then when it comes to breath work, this is something I definitely encourage. Breathe, guys. Even now, breathe. Like take a second, like breathe in. In fact, let's do this now. Breathe in. And hold your breath. Count up to 4. Breathe out. Hold up to 4. Breathe in. Hold up to 4. And exhale. Do you notice, even just from, and we haven't even done the whole box, how you've just changed, right? You've just changed, and that really helps you basically in your day have those moments where you can really give yourself room to breathe, use that box breathing method like we've just tried to practice right now. This is like essential to calm down. Every time you feel stressed, overwhelmed, try your best to just breathe and calm down, and the situations, basically whatever situation you're going through, you will be able to persevere. And then I think this is the last tip: multitasking. I am 100% against multitasking. And as you can see in the meme here, like multitasking is described as doing twice as much as you should, half as well as you could. Let me tell you, multitasking is, and you can feel it's overwhelming. You're doing a lot of things, but you're likely not doing all of them well. It's making your work suffer, it's making your life suffer, you're overwhelmed, you're stressed out. It just wears you out. I know people wear multitasking like a badge of honor, but actually doing simultaneous things wears out your brain, and you're not going to accomplish as many things as you think you are. You're going to have half-assed work that you're likely going to have to redo. So stop multitasking, basically, if you want to be productive and if you want to stay kind to your mental health. Stop multitasking. So yeah, just a little recap what I talked about for the people who aren't here from the beginning. 1, declutter, move your body, exercise, dance, stretch, compartmentalize, break things up into smaller bits, create systems in your life, journal, write lists, wake up early, create a morning routine, plan your day, prioritize, try to minimize distractions, turn those notifications off, create a nighttime routine, show appreciation, practice gratitude till it's annoying and the negative people get out of your life, set boundaries, let things go, make sure you visualize, practice mindfulness, breath work, and stop multitasking. So yeah, like I said, part 4 is a little gift from us. So the gift is, and you can screenshot this so you can use it later. You can get 10K off any basically order you place on our website. So this will actually be from 6 p.m. today. So you can just use that code on checkout, LMA10, and it's going to expire. It's going to start today at 6 p.m. and it will expire on 31st August at 11 p.m. So this is just to say thank you for attending. Thank you for showing up. And I hope this was useful. Like I said, with Lyflyn Designs, this is where you can shop, www.lyflyndesigns.com. And these are our details, basically. lyflyndesigns@gmail.com, and then on our social media it's at Lyflyn Designs. Then this is our phone number or WhatsApp, which is available Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And you can also get our goods from our various retail partners. If you'd like to see the product physically before you purchase it, you can go to Karuna Studio, which is on Sadler Way on your way to KPS, plot 3B. But this code is only valid on the Lyflyn Designs website. So feel free to screenshot this. Like I said, it will be valid from 6 p.m. today to 11 p.m. on 31st August. So you can buy anything between 6 p.m. and then. So yeah, thank you so much for following along. And I hope you picked up a tip or two. And yeah, I don't know if there are any questions, but I'm happy to answer anything.
Wow, thank you very much, Sarah. This is
Thank you, Anna.
this is very helpful. I have taken a lot of notes. So we are going to go direct to, please, if you have any question or comment, feel free to ask. You can unmute yourself and ask directly. Oh, I can see Karine, you have a question? Please go ahead.
Thank you, Enoch. It's not a question, it's just an observation or a comment.
Okay.
So thank you for the presentation. It was really useful. And I've realized that I'm already doing a lot of things, but already I've downloaded the app to focus. This is when you just said it, I'm like, I need this app. I need this app. Now, and you say that you're not supposed to multitask, but there are times where you have to multitask. So I'm giving the example of the Mandela Institute where I'm working. We are a small team and we deal with so many things. So it's points where you need to multitask. There is no way you can achieve everything that you've planned if you're not multitasking. So how do we avoid, how can we cope with multitasking, even though that's, your brain gets tired faster when you're multitasking because there are circumstances where you have to multitask. And then the notification also with the small team, because we are working remotely, so you can have team member asking, how are we supposed to proceed with that? So you are still working on something, but you also need to check on your WhatsApp because WhatsApp become a medium of communication and you can't just afford to switch off all your communication. You might miss important, urgent questions from your colleagues. So for those two, how do we do that? Thank you.
Thank you, Karine. That's a beautiful question. With multitasking, I think, for me, what I think a lot of people tend to do, or what I tend to do, is there are days where you have to do multiple things. Multitasking is essentially this idea of trying to do so many things at once, right? I think you're able to dedicate little chunks of time specifically to everything. So for example, with that focus keeper app, or even just your normal timer, or even looking at your time, at your watch, you can say, okay, for the next 15 minutes, I'm going to solely, you can break it up to that chunks as little as that. But for a fact, if you really want to achieve something, you have to give it time, right? You're not going to do very well if you are in a meeting where you are supposed to contribute, but at the same time, you're writing emails to people that are supposed to be very important, right? Maybe you might find yourself in that situation. However, I would recommend, if you know that each email that I'm writing is going to take me 5 minutes, try your best to be present in that meeting, contribute fully, because believe it or not, when you are trying to send these emails out and you're trying to be present in the meeting, you're going to miss something, right? And this has happened to me very many times, especially when I was in the corporate world. You in a meeting, you're trying to send an email, someone is messaging you here, now I need this, send me this file. Before you know it, you've missed something. Work. Like you said, sometimes you have, in your case, I guess you have to, but try to find ways of not having to. I think that's my advice, not having to do that. And then can I just get you to, you said something else that has just quickly skipped my mind. There's a second thing that you talked about.
So the fact that I have to keep my notification on while working because we are working remotely and they might have task or stuff that the team needs advice from you. So how do we keep our notification on, especially now that we're working remotely and WhatsApp is a medium of communication?
Okay, that's great. Thank you. Thank you again for that. So for me, once again, if the worst case scenario, I guess you can have, and this goes back to that time matrix box, is try to think about it this way: is an emergency at XYZ might not necessarily be an emergency to the whole company or to you personally, right? You can have, if you must have your notifications on and you know for a fact that every single notification that comes through on your email, on social media, on WhatsApp, on all these things is important, then keep them on. But what you're going to find is maybe the ones that come through over email are important, right? The ones on WhatsApp, not so much. Someone has just, it's like, I'm 2 minutes late, that's not the most important thing. The ones on social media are not that important, right? You can switch these off in increments and dedicate that time outside your focus time to go back to these, right? Keep your emails on, maybe, see what comes up, but resist the urge to break your focus and respond to a nothing email that you know for a fact you can respond to in 10 minutes, in 15 minutes, right? Because I think for me, that is the issue with those notifications. Because as soon as an email comes in, you want to respond to it immediately, right? Even if it's not something that you have to respond to. That's why I don't like notifications. Not because, keep them off entirely. No, it's because of the urge. And it's human nature. You just have the urge to want to divert from this and go into something else. Yet it's not necessarily something that's important. So if you're able to have that much self-control and resist the urge to switch up that quickly for something that's not as important, then you can have your notifications on. I am not yet that disciplined. As soon as I see those notifications, I will go, okay, I'm doing this, and that will, bring down my productivity. So it's also basically something that you can judge according to your personal preference and how stern you are in talking yourself into or out of things.
Wonderful. We can take the question from Miriam.
Hi, firstly, I want to say thank you so much. Like I wrote in the chat, this was so therapeutic. I realized that I've been struggling with anxiety, like extreme anxiety, and I don't know why. But then after this, I just sat and I realized, but this is all around work, and not just work, and it's not even the workload. It's just the organization, basically organizing myself and giving myself time, and basically everything you said. It's what I know I should do, but I don't do it. So thank you so much for the reminder. And I have a few questions. I don't know if you believe in this, but then I'm a firm believer because I think I'm one of them. I'm a night owl. So from morning up until like 2 p.m., 3 p.m., I'm very sluggish. But then as soon as 4 p.m. kicks in, it's like, okay, that's morning for Miriam. And my peak is normally around 11 p.m. till around about 2 to 3 a.m. I am very active. I am very alert. So I still haven't figured out how to work around that or how to balance it out, because I'm exhausted during the day. Like when you said the 5 a.m. thing in my head, I'm like, oh my gosh, how do we do this? Because you sleep at 4, how do you wake up at 5? So what advice could you have for a night owl, basically?
Thank you, Miriam. It's you know your routine. You're basically already saying that right? Your day, like I said, your year doesn't start on 1st January. Not everyone's year should start on 1st January. Your day starts at, let's say, 2, right? Let that be your morning. Still, the point is what the habits you can do and how you can move your day along. So at 2 p.m., let's say that's when you have the energy, right? Get up, do a mindfulness exercise, whether it's moving your body, breathing, journaling, all these things. Treat it like the beginning of your day. right? Because rightly so, it is the beginning of your day. I have a friend actually who's very similar to you. She's a poet, author, poet, and her day starts at midday normally, right? And ends at about 3 a.m. as well. But one, make sure you're getting your 6 to 8 hours of rest for sure, right? Wind down. When you get up, make sure you have that system in your life that is basically, okay, how am I preparing for my day? How am I planning for my day, right? And then start moving along in that way. Like between this time and this time, I'm going to do this. Between this time and this time, I have to focus. And then I have to, don't forget your meals. Don't forget how, basically treat it like for you, that's your regular 5 to, let's say, 8, right? Yours is, 2 to 3, right? And then maybe in order for you to switch it, right, start pushing it an hour, right? Let's say normally you start at 2 to 3. Try 1 to 2. Try to set it back, daily in small increments. Try your best to change it so that it complies with the universe, basically what is daytime and what is nighttime. So don't beat yourself up. Be kind to yourself. We talked about kindness. Be kind to yourself. Don't beat yourself up, but start with what you have, work around that, and then slowly start to change things, half an hour, 1 hour here, like that. Before you know it, you'll get into the thick of things. And
thank you so much. I've got one more question. Sorry. So I'm the type of person who I can move my setup, like you said, create an environment where you can easily concentrate on your work and you don't have any distractions. And this is so shameful for me to admit, but I'm easily distracted. It could be the smallest thing. So what tip would you have? I mean, there is no quick fix, but then what tip or advice or hack could you have for that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm also, I'm easily distracted, but not as much anymore. And for me, what I would advise is, just in case it's in line with what my reason was for being distracted easily, look into why. A lot of the time I used to be really distracted because my mind wasn't there. I wasn't present, right? I remember practicing mindfulness. I wasn't present. My mental health was off. I was anxious often. So, anything would come and I'm like, like how dogs are. And I see this from my puppy. He's like, anything. He's like, huh? You could be deep asleep. And then you like stand up and he's already like, oh, right? So I used to be like that as well. Like anything could just like pass by and go on like that. But it had a lot to do with, I was overwhelmed, I was quite anxious. So try to figure out what is that, a lot of time there's a reason behind that, right? Is it the task that you're doing? Is it something that's boring you to death, that you're waiting for a fly to pass by so you can actually get your mind off of it, right? Because sometimes that is what it is. So try to figure out that reason. There's usually a reason why the distraction comes easily. Of course, there's being distracted by, everyone gets distracted. But if you think it's something that just it's too often, then look into what might be the root cause of that.
Thank you so much. This has been awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is wonderful. I can't even add anything. So
thank you so much for having me.
I don't know if there are any other questions, but I would like to really again express my gratitude to you, Sarah, for sharing with us your time today. And I would like to thank everyone who has made the time to be here. Oh, Ethan, you have a question. Okay. Ethan has a question.
It's not really a question as well. it's more like of trying to solve this dilemma of multitasking. So I have some personal opinions. I don't know if you have time. It would take about 3 minutes, I think.
Oh.
Yeah, because these are really personal opinions.
Could you summarize them like in 1 minute?
Yeah, sure. So about multitasking and distractions and stuff, I personally think that multitasking is a talent as well. It's something that needs to be actually rewarded. I do have, for example, I've worked with teams and I've found that there are some people who can't multitask. Like definitely for them, if they multitask, they'll mess up things. But then there are people who are actually good at multitasking. Like I personally cheer myself up because I know I'm a multitasker. I'm a very good multitasker. Of course, distractions come in. The focus that you're talking about comes in where you're not able to focus on one particular thing. But then what happens is when you multitask, you're able to accomplish so many things. You're able to oversee a lot of things at the same time, rather than completing one task per task. I also find that doing small things, those super small things, like for example, if you already have, I run a social media platform, not a digital agency, a social media platform where we are creating posts for our customers. And I find that if we already have a post ready for deploying, it is way easier to just make that post on Facebook and let it go, because it will take like 2 minutes, I know. So I find it to be more, I find that multitasking ability to be more like a talent than a bad thing. I don't know what you guys think.
Understood, rightly understood. I think multitasking has been sold to us generally, in a similar way that you're saying. A lot of people say, yeah, but when you multitask, you're getting things done. And it's true.